And George Donikian joins us. Hello, George.
Hello, boys.
Now, I'm filling in for Simon Owens, as you know, George. And
I do learn these things, and the best part about it is it just goes to show you how magnanimous he is.
You're so right. Because in showbiz, you should never let somebody fill in for you. You should always just get in there and give it a go. But Simon said, no, I'm going to give Pat a go. And he said to me, you need some star power on the show. You need a celebrity on the show. So we've gone straight to you, George.
That's very kind of you, and I'll remember that, Simon.
Lovely. And I might say, by the way, after 15 years here, 16 years here at 3AW, I've finally progressed to being Pat Panetta's panel operator. So, yeah, the career's going well.
Now, George, let's start with your trip to the Northern Territory. What's happening with that? What's going on?
Look, I've been travelling around the world. I've had the good fortune to do that both for work and also for play for the better part of 30-odd years. And the one place I've never had a chance, for one reason or another, is our very own backyard in Australia, the Northern Territory, places as remote as Kakadu and Arnhem Land. So this is an opportunity that's come my way. They obviously have heard that I'm not on the news desk. I'm not bound by any commitments. And they thought, are you prepared to take a group of tourists up there with you? And I thought for about 5 seconds, and I said, sure. And the best part about it is we've won permission from the traditional owners of the area, and they've said yes. So we'll get a chance to actually have with us Indigenous rangers who know the area like the back of their hands.
Wow.
We'll speak to the traditional owners. We'll get to see some of the most magnificent and ancient rock art on the planet, let alone Australia, on the planet. We'll then travel into Jabiru, and from there into the remote parts of Arnhem Land. We'll cross and get a chance to swim in the beautiful waters of Barramundi Gorge.
No crocodiles, I hope.
No. Barramundi Gorge or Marjuk is beautiful and serene, and no problems with that sort of reptilian wonder. That's left for the Adelaide River, and we're not going to swim there. We're going to cross it in a special craft. But the best part, and this is the part that really appeals to me, once we get to meet the traditional owners and we get to speak to the Indigenous rangers about what goes on in that part of the world, we're going to go into the remote part of Arnhem Land and then go up to the Coburg Peninsula and land and have a sticky beak at the failed English settlement. And we'll go through the ruins of a place called Port Essington. Now, Port Essington was well before Darwin was ever thought about. So just imagine, we're going to get to see a little bit about history. We're going to get to see what makes the first Australian so very proud of their land up there. We'll get to talk to them. We're not going to slum it. We're not going to go, digging latrines and doing this, that, and the other. We've got special cabins that'll look after us. And it should be a joy, a 6-day adventure.
Wow.
Remote part of Australia.
Amazing.
September 1 through to September 7.
George, you say they found out that you're no longer at the news desk and they phoned you up. Who's they? So who's organising all this?
Travel with a twist. A lovely young lady by the name of Ramina Izzo came to me and she said to me, I hear that you're free as a bird. And I'm going, yeah, so to speak. So, and this is what's happened. We've come up with this tour, and if this goes the way we'd like it to go, then we're off to Spain, possibly next year, then on to the World Cup in Brazil, and on to places like Miami and Cuba. And you might be able to keep me busy for the next half a dozen years.
The World Cup would be a good one, because actually I have a question to ask you, which then leads into this comment.
Yes, Croaky, what can I do for you?
Do old habits die hard? I want to know, is George Donikian going to study the guest list of people who appear on this cruise with him, and will he pronounce everyone's name correctly?
Well, I did this many, many years ago. Cunard and Harvey World Travel came to me, and it was about 1996, 97, and they said, we'd like you to take some tour groups away. You've got some long service leave coming up. And I said, yeah, sure, okay. And they said, we consider a cruise. I said, no, I don't do cruises. They said, we thought we might get you on a QE2. I said, I'm in. And we took 35 Australians, and we got everyone to fly to Singapore. We met at that beautiful Changi airport. From there, we went to Mumbai, landed and spent 2 or 3 days in that city, that amazingly busy city. Picked up the QE2 and went for the very first time ever after its refit back in '96. We went into Dubai. We spent 3 days, Sharjah, Dubai. Then we went to Muscat in Oman. From there we went to Aqaba in Jordan and went into the hidden city of Petra, which features in the movie Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Oh, yeah.
Then we went into Port Suez. We got 9 coaches with police escort and went into Cairo, caught and spent time in the pyramids and saw the Sphinx. Then back on board the ship up the Suez into Alexandria, onto Haifa for 4 days, and we went to Bethlehem, we went to Nazareth, and we went to the beautiful fortified city of Jerusalem, which was just beyond what I imagined, because I never had thought to myself I'd feel so special about a place like that. I didn't want to have any expectations, but I was blown away. And I actually got into the oldest Orthodox church in Christendom, which is called the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, and I was blown away.
Well, you've travelled a fair bit there, George. So you're looking for 15 people to come with you to this trip to the Northern Territory?
I reckon 10 to 15. We've got 2 or 3 at the moment, and another 2 are contemplating it. It's about trying to get their dollars together. So we've got an information evening coming up Wednesday night, this coming Wednesday, at a place called Bella Cosy, which is on the corner of Beach Street and Stoke Street at Port Melbourne.
Bella Cosy, what does that mean? Bella Cosy.
All things nice.
All things nice.
Yeah, so it's a lovely cafe, and we're going to do it Wednesday night from about 6:30 for a couple of hours. Any questions? Get them to meet Romy and the gang at Travel with a Twist, and from there. We hope to have them locked in and ready to go between September 1 and September 7 later this year.
George, do you miss the news desk?
Look, I miss the people, and I miss the buzz at about 55 seconds to 5 o'clock, or 6 o'clock, or 7, or whenever you're doing it. Yeah, I miss that little buzz and the actual hour, but not the stuff that goes around it. When you do something for 35 years or thereabouts, there are bits of it that you love, absolutely love, and there are bits of it that you go, no, I can do without that.
Yeah, fair enough.
But the challenge now is to see what new programs or what new challenges, other than travel, that I can get my teeth into. And one is that that application that I've come up with.
Yes, tell us about this. This is an app that you've developed for the iPhone. Is it an Android phone?
I'm the team leader. It's called NewsMe. We've been working on it for quite some time, and I'm basically one of about half a dozen folk. And we're thrilled with it. We're thrilled by it. We know it's early days, and there's so much more we can develop. And it's an application which allows. I think we learned very many years ago that television news is a very expensive business. Yeah. We also know that in this day and age, whether it be radio or whether it be television, the big organisations don't have the money to throw into these programs that they used to. So, not so much that they cut corners, but they look at other ways to get their programming content. And in this case, what drives television news? Pictures. Who says to you and me, I can afford to have 50 crews sitting idly by that I can send left, right and centre at any given notice to cover the news events of the day? Nobody can. Mm-hmm. But everybody's got a phone. And the phones have got the most magnificent cameras, and those cameras are getting bigger and better and more complex, mm-hmm. and they can deliver better pictures with a higher performance, gradient than ever before. So we're saying to each and every person who has a smartphone, download the app from the App Store. If you see something newsworthy, whether it's in sport, whether it's in news, whether it's a disturbance around the corner, and you think that one of the commercial television stations might want to play it or use it, upload it to our app, NewsMe, and the commercial stations, if they like it and want it, will pay you for it. So it's cash in your pocket.
It's
20, 30 seconds of footage, and that can be, $400, $500, $600 in your pocket.
It's a great idea, isn't it?
Especially if we get it up and get it up in the numbers we expect and imagine.
I actually thought of it last night, Thursday night, at the terrible accident that happened with the truck overturning and the sheep dropping and landing everywhere in the damaged cars. A lot of people out there, of course, because it was 2 freeways. If somebody had that app, they would have had the footage, and of course, no television station had great footage of it from last night.
The other thing is, you can also supplement the image, the pictures that you deliver can add to the story that's being told by the professional news teams.
Yes.
So it's not just did you get the pictures; these might give you a different perspective, and it's a bit like having another umpire on the football field. You see a different thing, don't you? You see a different perspective of that story that's being told, and that would enrich the news delivery. And I'm certain that a news director who's sharp enough and understands how competitive the business is, if you can give them another perspective, they'll come on board and buy it off you.
And that's the way news is going now, isn't it, George?
Well, everybody's looking at the business, and you're right. They're looking at how better to deliver it, and we're just trying to help them.
It's sort of, here's the way to look at it. The mobile telephone changed talkback radio forever because people out and about can report in from anywhere where stuff is happening. So it made this station more important than ever. And mobile phones with cameras can do the same for television through apps like this.
Well, you imagine, the Black Friday, how many more opportunities we would have had to maybe warn people that something was coming. There were so many problems with communication at that particular time. Any convenience, any special bit of equipment in this day and age that provides you some advance, some early warning, some better perspective has got to be good for the business and certainly good for you.
Okay, it's Melbourne Overnights. George Donikian's on the line. Pat's my name, filling in. I thought I'd better tell everybody, if you just tuned in, it's George Donikian, and I'm filling in for Simon Owens, who's here, because he's got a bit of a scratchy voice. Are you a bit depressed at times, George, when you watch stories now, like on, say, shows like Today, Tonight and The Current Affair? Has that sort of TV changed over the years?
You mean the tabloid stuff?
Yes, the tabloid TV.
Oh, look, it's sort of there are bits of those shows that sometimes really resonate, and you think to yourself, "Yeah, I'm glad they did it because they've shone a torch on something that needed to be really looked at properly." And maybe then government or different institutions can address those problems. But they go on and on and on sometimes. But at the end of the day, the program managers or the executive producers of each and every one of those programs will turn around and say to you, "Well, hey, if we didn't go down that pathway, we wouldn't have 1 million people watching us every night."
I guess that's the ratings, isn't it? They wake up in the morning, look at the ratings, like people watch it, they want to consume it. They like it.
I don't know whether we're dumbing things down, we're just giving people what they want, or are we trying to do something a bit different? I'd always like us to stretch ourselves. It's like anything. You want to improve, you want to be better, you want to do it a little bit better. As I said, mixed emotions. That's probably why I'm still looking at different programs and maybe going out there and trying to make some new documentaries about different stories that haven't been told. Because I think at the end of the day, whether it's a good story on radio or whether it's a great story on television, they're all stories that engage.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the world go round. We all have a good story, a good goss. And if you do it in a manner that really appeals and engages, the viewer or the listener, then it's got to be fantastic.
And an easy way to capture that story is with your News Me application.
It's one word, News Me, and it's a play on Use Me.
Uh-huh.
But the device also has another component to it. We can use filters to narrowcast or fine-tune and almost do it in for example, if you have a very special presentation you want to make to your members who are associated with your organisation, right? Say the organisation is the MCG. How many people are members? hundreds of thousands. I think it has 200,000 or 300,000 members, doesn't it?
Of the MCG, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Right. Well, imagine now they can't get everyone to the same place at once, but what they can do by using the app with a series of filters, they can send an SMS to each and every one, and they can send out a signal to, or a message, for example, to each and every one of their members, and they only will get the message. So it's another way of maybe doing a teleconferencing, you follow, without having to pay the huge amounts of money.
That's
Why? Because what we're doing is effectively building a new media platform which allows us to get a signal out there and a picture, a high-quality picture, in a way that no one's ever considered before.
Okay, so, I'll have to go and download it. Does it work on the Android phones as well? You've got the Apple phones?
No, we're working on Android. That's the next, that's the next option. At the moment, it's iPhone and iPad.
Okay.
And what it means is for small businesses and for charities, who struggle to get their message out and to become more aware, it's another terrific tool that they can put to good use.
So there's two things that we want to remind everybody, George. Travel with a twist, because you're looking for 15 people to travel with you to the Northern Territory for that great experience.
In September, that's right. And there's a big information night coming up Wednesday. This coming Wednesday, that's next week, the 6th, from 6:30 at a place called Ella Cosy. It's a lovely cafe very close to the beach at Port Melbourne.
Do people need to book for that, or can they just wander around?
No, they can just roll up. No. 6:30 for a couple of hours. We'll get a chance to tell them what's going on and how we're going to do it, and we'd love them to join us.
And the last word, George, is that if somebody's listening who wants to get into news presenting, just like George Donikian, your advice to them is?
Well, my advice is download the app, turn the camera around to yourself, and tell me or a potential employer why they should consider you. And then upload it onto NewsMe, use the category Show Reels, and it's there for all to see.
Very good. Thank you very much, George Donikian. We appreciate your time. Good on you, mate.
Good luck with the program.
Thank you.
And best wishes. Keep that young Simon at bay for a little while longer. Give him some special terps. There's a great little product. It's called a beautiful tea with a shot of brandy, a little lemon, and a lot of honey.
Right.
Just sip and gargle, and it'll make him go very quiet,
I like
very
it.
quickly.
I might leave out the tea, lemon, and honey, and just go with the brandy.
I didn't say anything. All right.
Good on you, George. Thank you.
Have a great night or a great morning.
And remedies for Simon Owens' throat as well. 96900 693. Join us and tell us how Simon can soothe his throat. 96900 693. George Donikian.
And Australia.